Hey everybody, I hope you are well. Happy National Bra Day. For those of you who are with family or friends enjoying a nice time out, I hope you're really making the most of it. Guys, today I have titled the article or the letter Shark Biomimicry. Now, I was first introduced to biomimicry when I was studying architecture. Basically, it's where we learn from nature ways that we can implement how nature works to make buildings better. There was a building in Zimbabwe that used it, that we used as a precedent study, that copied the ant's nest, bringing cool air in and all sorts of wonderful things that made the building more efficient and more green. And there's many other examples that people have used, but the purpose of biomimicry is basically how we can copy nature to improve a situation, to improve the performance of the building or of some object. And I've chosen to look at the shark and how that can improve us. So the inspiration came from an email I received from Marc. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name, but I get emails from him. He's the founder of the Universal Man project, which basically focuses on helping men with certain issues. And he basically sent an email about the apex predator, which was the shark, and how if the shark stops moving, it dies. And because of this constant moving that the shark has to do to live, it has survived many of the mass extinctions that we've had, and is older than dinosaurs and some trees, and how we can copy the shark to be better. And it gave me some ideas for today's letter and article, and I chose to write in it. So basically, I've looked at some parts of the shark, as well as willpower, inspiration from The Will to Win, a poem that I found after watching Tony Robbins' I Am Not Your Guru documentary. I did some digging. I have put the poem in the letter today so you can read it, and it talks about having sheer will and never giving up. And while I appreciate the message of being a shark and never stopping to moving, not everyone has that energy or has that approach to things. So I've paid homage to that, or paid respect to that fact rather, and I've dug a bit deeper for you, and I came across something called the flow profile. Now, I'm quite familiar with the work of Stephen Kotler and Jamie Wheel. They are co-founders of the Flow Genome Project, which is basically a project, an ongoing project dedicated to finding peak human performance. And of course, that varies from person to person. So they developed a flow profiles test. It's a very quick test. There's a link to that as well in the letter. I took the test and I came out as the deep thinker. However, the beautiful thing of it is that we at any point can be any one of the 4 flow profiles, depending on a task we need to do or on certain energies that we have. We can actually delve into different flow profiles. So I'll quickly just unpack it, to give a bit of substance to the video. So the first one is the crowd pleaser. The second one is the flow goer. The third one is the hard charger, and the fourth one is the deep thinker. Now, basically a crowd pleaser, typical flow hacks that they call are festivals, conferences, managing organizational teams. So it's where you're really part of a crowd and you've got that energy to fit in. Sports teams, you like nightlife, you like social and political causes. So if that is something that you guys feel you could improve on, I encourage you to look at the flow profiles. In fact, whichever one you come out in that test, you get a link to access all 4 of them, so you can better enhance how you can approach each different aspect of a task or of your life or a space that you're currently in. The second one that I quickly want to go through is called the flow goer. Now, typical flow hacks for this are personal growth retreats, yoga, meditation, ecstatic dance. So, I can relate to this as well. As before, being the crowd pleaser, I love being part of a team. I love to coordinate, and I also love nightlife if the circumstance calls for it, where you go out with some friends and you go and or you go out with a group of friends and you have a party, whatever it is. But the flow goer, I can also relate to when I've been to the ayahuasca, when I've been to the Velada ceremony as well, and also when I like to do meditation and when I've tried to do yoga at home. But again, there's different tips in there as to how you can do something just in the flow of the process, calmly, at your own pace. And if it's something, you will know what it is which of the 4 flow profiles you will need to adapt to approach whatever it is you're doing with. And this one deals with just a more calm, tranquil approach and just letting things go with the flow. The third one is the hard charger. Now, this one here, I mean, I can also vouch for doing this once or twice, more actually, but for instance, when I've done a warrior race, you know, you might have a pre-workout or like a high energy, long sustaining breakfast just before you do the event to see you through. And one of the flow hacks here is substance use. So stimulants, euphoriants, or something that either increased or slows down your RPM. You know, MMA, rock climbing, paintball, which I've done before. So there could be something like that you want to do, not necessarily going paintballing, but that really you need that high intensity to just get something done, which is, as I said before, related to the Will to Win poem, where you just go it with everything that you've got. You sleep it, you breathe it, you eat it. It is every part of your existence. So that hard charger profile for me relates to that poem quite specifically. The fourth one, which is what I was at the time, was the deep thinker. And interestingly enough, the deep thinker does, as the flow hack, it relates to personal expression, which I'm quite good at, and it also engages in classic art such as pottery, and I believe poetry is one of the things, reading, music, all things that I love. You know, I do, here's ironic now actually, I do appreciate photography. It is a sort of hobby of mine that I've been doing, but also it speaks about gaming or coding or making. And I mean, in my spare time, one of the things I like to do is play video games. So, and it also sometimes refers to the fact that you might seek out a kinder or gentler form of nature as opposed to a hard charger. So whereas the hard charger will like running and rock climbing, the deep thinker may like to go hiking or gardening. So again, it's, you read these profiles and it gives you tips and just different ways that you can just hack your flow profile and just help break procrastinating. That's one of the key things about this, is to just keep doing. Whether it's hard charger, deep thinker, crowd pleaser, or flow goer, you've just got to keep doing. You know, whether you set aside some time every day, 1 hour to get a task done, eventually it becomes a habit. Jim Quick spoke about this in his book Limitless, that, you know, after the 1 hour you may decide to do another 5 minutes, or you know, you might get through one chapter of a book and realize, hey, you know, I can do another chapter, it's really interesting. Or maybe you're putting a video or a blog on hold. You know, you might decide to start the page today and then tomorrow carry on. And guys, here's something that I want to just stress. People have this belief that if you skip something for a day, that you've broken the habit. So for instance, people have this misconception that if you eat one piece of cake, you're going to get fat, right? Or if you go to the gym once, you're going to get in shape. It's not that. Consistency is key. And even if your consistency is twice a week or every second day, keep it consistent and don't be hard on yourself. If one day you have a late day at the office or there's IT problems and you can't get your task done, it's okay. Remember, one day won't make a difference. As long as you promise to yourself to pick up the pieces and try again tomorrow. I have made a small reference as well to always showing up like Clark Kent. Some days he could just be Clark Kent and not have anything to do, and that's the day that he takes things easy and doesn't work on his task. The next day he might battle some robbers, which for him is a walk in the park. So that could be a small step, you know, a flow goer approach to getting a task done. And another day he might be battling his arch nemesis Lex Luthor, or he might be flying an island infused with kryptonite into space, and those days he really gives it horns in accordance with the Will to Win poem. He just gives it everything he's got. That makes him tired, but he's accomplished a big task. The fact is, as Stephen Kotler says, flow is the phone booth where Clark Kent becomes Superman. At any point in time, as long as you can delve into your flow and just show up, just be Clark Kent every day and show up and say, right, today there's no villains, tomorrow there will be villains, whatever the case is. Just always keep moving like the shark and just find something that you could be consistent at, that you can just match your energy and match your levels of resilience and your flow. So guys, take a look at the letter or article. There are links to both the flow profile as well as, I'll put a poem. There might not be a link to the poem, but it's very easy. It's in there as well anyway. But if you want to do some more research onto the artist of the poem, I have put his name there as well. Guys, have fun, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And if you do, guys, I'll stress again, if any of you needs a life coach, a relationship coach, which is where I specialize in, someone to talk to, guys, hit me up on my website. There's a link in the description to this video, as well as a link to the letter. And guys, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I hope this is valuable to you. Until next week, guys, with love, MLLD.